now we're going to talk about one way to form verbal nouns in Turkish. To form a verbal noun, you just take a verb stem and add a verbal noun ending to it to create a noun that's the equivalent of the English gerund. So, for example, in the sentence, his dancing is terrible, dancing is the equivalent of a Turkish verbal noun. Now we're going to look at how to make them and how to add possessive suffixes to them. All right, one way to make a verbal noun in Turkish is to take the verb stem and add either me or ma according to the rules of two-way vowel harmony. Now, me and ma may look familiar because this is a form that Turkish negative suffixes can also take. This is not the negative suffix. This is a verbal noun ending in this case. Let's look at how we can form verbal nouns with the verb beklemek, to wait in Turkish. We'll start with the verb stem, bekle, and simply add the appropriate form of me or ma according to two-way vowel harmony. So me, bekleme, means waiting or the waiting as a noun, a verbal noun. Now, verbal nouns ending in me or ma, we can add all kinds of case endings, dative, ablative, and so on. But we can also, as I mentioned, add possessive suffixes to create phrases like my waiting, his singing, and so on. This is going to be important because these verbal nouns combined with the possessive suffixes will be a really important component of some very useful Turkish grammatical structures. For now, let's learn how to make them. Bekleme, waiting. We want to say my waiting. We have the option of using the personal pronoun in the genitive, so benim, my, but we don't have to. What we do have to do, if we want it to be possessive, is add the appropriate possessive suffix. Because bekleme ends in a vowel, we'll simply add me. So, beklemem, my waiting, or benim beklemem, my waiting. Senin, optional. Bekleme, beklemen, you're waiting. Onun, bekleme, si, bizim, so beklemesi would be his or her or its waiting. Bizim beklememiz. Notice we're following the rules of four-way vowel harmony with our possessive suffixes as usual. Sizin beklemeniz, your plural or your form of waiting. And onların beklemesi, or alternatively beklemeleri, they're waiting. They're possessive waiting, not they are waiting. Let's look at how we can do this with another verb, just for an example to see how it looks with the ma version of this particular verbal noun ending. So let's do yapmak, to make or to do. Start with our verb stem, yap. Benim yapma, okay. Yapma, in this case, meaning the making or the doing. Yapmam, my doing or my making. Benim yapmam, senin yapman, onun yapması, bizim yapmamız. yapmamız, sizin yapmanız, onların yapması or yapmaları. And that's one way to form verbal nouns in Turkish. One additional note about forming verbal nouns in Turkish, it's worth remembering that although these are nouns, because they are derived in this way from verbs, they are verbal nouns, they'll still require the same cases as the verbs from which they are derived. In other words, for example, if you're waiting for someone in Turkish, you're waiting for them they are going to be in the accusative. If I'm waiting for sen, for you, singular, seni bekliyorum, I'm waiting for you. If I want to refer to my waiting for you as a noun, seni beklemem would be my waiting for you. Seni is still needing to be in the accusative, just as it would have to be the full verbal form of beklemek.